Chicago really. Get money, yeah. Get money, yeah. Get money, yeah. Get money.
And welcome everybody to another live edition of First and Goal with your host, me, Jay in the UP, and
Grumpy at Steak and Cheese today.
He's grumpy, he's irritated, he's had enough, folks.
Oh my God, it has been the hell of the past 2 days to listening and reading all these takes about jersey numbers. Oh my God, Jay. I don't even know if you want me to delve into this right now. Do you have anything you want to put up for? Because this might be a bit.
Well, you know what? We're going to let you run with that, with the jersey thing, because I can get into that. But we are going to respond to Colin Cowherd's on-air continuation of his just hatred for Aaron Rodgers. It's just, I mean, we'll
It'll
get to
never
it,
stop.
folks. It's getting to this point, it's ridiculous. But I will tell him this. He makes the content and makes it easy to give us something to talk about when you can get redundant at this point in the year doing 2 shows a week and not a whole lot going on. So thank you, Colin Cowherd. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, right. We'd be out of a podcast if we didn't have that.
No crap. Well, you can only talk about the draft for so many times. I mean, people are just repeating the same crap. So, we got to thank the guy, but, at the same time, yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Dave.
Cowherd will never leave Rodgers alone. That's why we always have material. Always.
Yep.
All right. So Cowherd came and was trying to say that we went heavy in free agency, we went heavy in the draft, and then finally we have all these weapons on Rodgers. And now Rodgers is running out of the chances. And I'm like, what? I'm like, running out of chances? If we didn't have Rodgers, we probably would have gone 1-15 last year, Colin. And then out of the whole thing, he ranks his top 10 teams after completely ridiculing Rodgers, and then adds in that the Packers did well in free agency of the draft, and then put him at 6 in his top 10. When before he had him at like 17 or 18. I get it, the team's improved, but to bump him up to 6 and then try to ridicule Aaron like that is just classic Colin Cowherd. He contradicted himself so much. It's just like Jay said earlier, it's getting annoying. Like, there's no merit to it anymore. But yeah, it's material to talk about, but this is just like, man, it's like you turn that on, you're like, yep, same old Cowherd.
Well, it's not just the same. It's not so much the same old thing, because it's just that. I mean, again,
I'm just referring into ridiculing Rodgers in that aspect.
But I can systematically, and we're going to do it after, we're going to let you go off, because it's gotten to, and it's not that we're trying to be mean, guys, but again, there's only so many things to talk about in podcasts, so this is something that, it's going on Twitter, so we're going to take the time to address it, because otherwise, what else the hell are we going to talk about? So, but I'm going to systematically just kill Colin Cowherd. And it goes, I guess what I'm going to prove is it's just more of the laziness and just kind of reporting on just surface crap on the Packers nationally. It's like they're either not going to talk about them or they're going to kind of make stuff up. And then it's just easily refuted. Just if you just even have common knowledge as a fan, I guess is what upsets me. Again, I don't want to take up too much time because, Dave, I know you gotta go, man. You've been waiting to blow up all the steam off of this all freaking day, so I'll set you up here. All right, folks.
All right.
It's Jersey. I know we love these players, but Clay Matthews is a Packer Hall of Famer. He's not making the Pro Football Hall of Fame. he doesn't even have close, like he doesn't have enough sacks. I mean, you know what I mean? Like he was a great player, but there's only so many numbers, guys. Jordy Nelson isn't even the Packers' leading receiver statistically. It's Donald Driver. And FYI,
He hasn't
Donald
even had his
Driver
number
wore
retired.
80. Well, Donald Driver wore 80, and Donald
James
Driver ain't in the
Lofton.
Hall of Fame, and James Lofton is in the Hall of Fame, and yet 80 is still out there. So, I mean, like, we can't argue one thing here and then allow others to go, I guess, is part of this, too. So,
Oh, by the way, there was no outrage when Martellus Bennett wore 80 the year he was with the Packers. No one said a thing. So that's one of my points right there.
and he
Jay,
was a complete dude.
Oh, God, yeah. He made up stories to be injured, and the Packers caught him on it. So that's why they freaking let him go. And they didn't have to pay him any of his salary left or his guaranteed money because he lied. When you catch a player lying about injury, you can kick him out of his contract.
Yeah.
But anyways, I digress on that. I'm going straight into it. People,
Go for it, Dave.
this is a football team. We love this team. Through and back. We all get attached to players, but we get attached to players. This is a number stitched on a jersey. There is players in the 60s that are Hall of Fame class top people, and you go to Canton. And that's the thing. They haven't had their numbers retired in the Packers Hall of Fame. They haven't done that. Like,
Number
I'm sorry.
65 is Mark Tauscher's
no.
number, and I know he's not a Hall of Famer, but he's one of my 4 greatest offensive
no.
linemen in Packers history,
He
and
was
his
gonna be
number
in my
is
tiers. I was just
is
starting in
Lane
the 60s.
Taylor is wearing it right now.
No, I got that. I was starting in the 60s, Jay. I was just going, you got guys, Forrest Gregg, you got Willie Davis, who wore 87. No one says anything about him getting any credit to go ahead and get his number retired. Everyone says, oh, Jordy. Jordy was a good receiver. He was a good teammate. He's a good man. But I am sorry, Willie Davis deserves the honor for that. He was part of the Lombardi Packers. He was part of that vaunted defense of the Packers that no one wanted to play. And I'm sorry, there's one guy that I think that should be getting his number retired too, 89. I think Dave Robinson should be doing it. Those 2 defensive ends, oh my God. Like that right there bugs the hell out of me. These younger folks have to, that are in my generation, I have to say I sadly accept, is they need to go back and learn the history. Not everything's Aaron, Jordy, Clay. They were role players for us in that team. They were leaders. But I am not going to give them the light of day and get their numbers retired, or these silly people saying, oh, we need a grace period. Well, a grace period for what? I'm sorry. This attachment to numbers is ridiculous. A grace period?
How many numbers are retired already, though? Isn't there like 10 or 12 numbers in Packer history retired?
I think it's like 7 or 8. There's 7 or 8.
Yeah, but you only have
99
numbers to give away. You know, like
and you have 90 people you have to start off in camp, Jay. That's the thing. So what are you going to do? Retire another 10 and say, oh, we're going to start making them wear 100.
And well, you can't though. That's the problem. See,
exactly.
That's the thing that people.
I know.
Football is a sport where when you are retiring somebody's jersey, like a Brett Favre, like there's a reason for it because it, like, again, this is. I know we sound angry.
I feel like he only got it because they had to settle good graces with him. I honestly believe that because they had to get back in Favre's good graces, they had to retire his number.
No, Favre is retirable. It was a retirable number. Nobody should ever wear 4 again. I'm sorry. Like there is something with Favre and the Green Bay Packers. If you grew up like I did, I'm going to be 36 here in a month. When I grew up and I was playing hockey, it was it was Favre. And before that, it sucked being a Packer fan. And so
hey, Don Majkowski had some hope.
Right. There is a bigger piece of Packer history attached with Brett Favre that a lot of players, even in the 60s, don't, can you understand where I'm going? Like, and some of these others, like Bart Starr, I mean, people, we get this GOAT conversation and want to give credit to like guys like Tom Brady. There's only one quarterback in NFL history that's won 5 straight championships. His name's Bart Starr. And yet
Bart from
it's
Bama.
yeah, but it's okay for people to say, well, Bart was a product of the system, and he was
You know how many
was
games
Tom
he
Brady
closed out for
before
the
Tom
Packers?
Brady was Tom Brady. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I know.
Like,
Lombardi was Belichick before Belichick. Like, that's the thing. A lot of people discredit it. Oh, it's a different time in football. It was still football. That's the thing. Yeah, there may have been a different playing style, but it was still football nonetheless.
football is the only professional sport that, for whatever reason, in the early 60s, we decided to give it they decided, I should say, the NFL decided to give the championship game a new nickname. And then, because of it, they
The
discredit
Chiefs owner
all the
gave it to
teams
him.
before that. Well, my point is that the NBA
I
doesn't
know where
look
you're
and
going.
go and doesn't say, well, because back in 1957 there was the ABA and the NBA, and so before the merger, we're not going to credit all these championships that Bill Russell won in the ABA and this guy. No, they won championships. They count them, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, if
hockey
you want to
does
talk
the
about
same
Drew
thing. The
Belichick,
Stanley
it's
Cup's
Curly
the
Lambeau.
Stanley Cup.
If
It
you want to
bothers
talk, yeah.
me.
I know, and that's the thing is because it only comes up when fans against the Packers say, "Oh, you guys only have 4 Super Bowls. The other championships don't count." No, every other sport it matters, just like you said, Jay. That's the thing. Every other sport it matters. So that's the thing I'm coming across saying. That's why every other Packers player that has stopped playing for them still calls them the 13-time world champions because they have 13 world championships.
Because I
A
think
Super Bowl is a
irks,
world championship.
I think it irks even players once they play and you understand the sacrifice. It doesn't make even. I mean, it's one of the things that I don't think is talked about enough, quite honestly. And it's starting to bother me the older I get because it's just an asinine thing. Like, if you're a
The
Lions
more Clint
fan,
Eastwood and
doesn't
Gran Torino.
well, think about this. If you're a Lions fan, doesn't as a Lions fan, let's be clear here. Doesn't it
I
hurt
acknowledge they have
your
championships.
claw as hell that you get rubbed in the face that you have no championships and yet your team actually has won a championship in 1957?
They have
But you
4.
get no
They have
credit
4
for it.
championships.
Well, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
they get no credit for it, and
But
I
yeah,
guess it just
they're one
it's
of the fans
ridiculous.
that come up with. Yeah, they're one of the fan bases that come up and say, "Well, you guys only have 4 Lombardis. I don't know why you're talking." They're one of the teams that do that, so it kind of gets rubbed in their face because they have nothing to show for it. Yes, they have 4 championships prior to the Super Bowl era, which is yes, they still have titles. The Eagles had titles before freaking the Super Bowl era. The Browns had titles before the Super Bowl era. So yes, there are teams with legitimate championships, but there's also a couple teams who have never actually been to not a Super Bowl, but a championship title game itself. Some teams just haven't been there. Well, you can look at it when they were the St. Louis Cardinals. I think they won a couple when they were there. That's my point. Is that's one of the oldest teams in the NFL, Jay.
Yeah.
Well, but that's the thing. You go back, you look at the teams. The Houston Oilers never won a championship. The Titans went to a game in Super Bowl, but they never won a championship. There's teams out there that have never won a championship in either era. So there's teams out there, but it's just that's the thing is it needs to be concluded in one thing. People got to stop saying, "Oh, it only goes up to a Super Bowl." Like, I'm sorry, well, it was just a nickname. Lamar Hunt for the Chiefs saw his kid playing with some ball and came up to the owners' meeting and gathered all the owners over at the
he's playing with a
pre-championship game and called him a Super Bowl. And then they said, no, what about Super Bowl? Lamar Hunt came up with it.
And
so that's the thing. It's just
we're
a
off
name.
on this tangent because it ties into the whole.
Either
I
way,
guess it's the number thing. It ties into the history, is what it is. And
I digress.
There's a lot
We're going
of
back
history.
to the jerseys.
Yeah,
we're going back to the jersey, Jay. We know who else doesn't get credit? Robert friggin' Brooks. That's a guy to me that put everything on the line for Green Bay. Exactly my point. That's why I brought him up. He was a receiver that did everything for the Packers. And he literally gave his body up for it. He didn't have the career Jordy had, but guess what? he still is in the top. So a lot of the stats books you look, he's in top 5 Packer numbers. And to me,